Hey everyone, and welcome to our release kickoff for milestone 1511. My name is David DeSanto, and I lead the product division here at GitLab. And I will be your host for today's live stream. In fact, I'll be your cruise director for it as we go on this great journey. I'm joined today by some of our awesome product leadership team. The members who are here will be presenting in the following order. Josh Lambert, Director of Product for Enablement, will give our updates for the enablement section. Arika Lewinsky, Director of Product, will give our updates for the dev section. Hillary Benson, Senior Director of Product and President's Club Award winner, will be going next and will give our updates on the sec section. Mike Floten, VP of Product, will give updates on our ops section. And then Taylor McCaslin, Group PM, will bring us home with updates on the data science section. We are focused on delivering value iteratively here at GitLab, with a focus on our FY24, or right now, for those who don't know our fiscal years, product investment themes. They are build a world-class DevSecOps experience that includes first-class usability, additional collaboration capability, and AI-assisted workflows. Next is to provide advanced security and compliance, adding depth to our ultimate offering, bringing software supply chain security to the forefront of software development. Next is to bring observability, analytics, and feedback into our DevSecOps platform, empowering organizations to close the SDLC loop with user data. And finally, GitLab for Data Science enables data scientists and data engineers into the DevSecOps platform, giving them all the benefits everyone else has from DevOps, including collaboration, reproducibility, and streamlined deployment into production. Before I hand it over to Josh, we have a short public service announcement. On this live stream, we will be discussing our product roadmap, which includes upcoming features and functionality. It is important to note that the information presented on this live stream are for informational purposes only. Please do not rely on this information for purchasing and playing purposes. We plan very ambitiously here at GitLab, and everything discussed in this live stream is subject to change. The timing of products, features, and functionality remains at the sole discretion of GitLab. Okay, so with that over, I want to hand it over to Josh to kick things off. Over to you.
Thanks, David. And I'll be going through our enablement section, as David mentioned. And so hopefully you can see my screen here. I will go through a small section of what we're working on. We have a lot more that we are doing, so please do take a look at the videos to learn more. But we'll jump in first with the world-class DevOps experience work that we're doing to support this theme. The first one is our search group is continuing their work on transitioning from Elastic to a newer Zoox-based code search engine. This will allow us to really resolve some of the key challenges we have in code search today, which is incomplete and or unreliable results coming back from Elastic due to tokenization and other challenges. So we're moving to a code search specific engine, and we're working on an MVC here of tackling public projects first, and we're actually making quite rapid progress here towards that. And so looking forward to having this be more available here. And this is an area, again, where the search team is working on driving forward here. And we'll target this initial phase, GitLab-org, because it's public. And it's a great test for all us to dog food and make sure everything's working. From there, we can move over to the Geo team, and we are working to add a new option to specify the maximum file size for the Git repositories. For those who might not be aware, Git repositories really don't perform terribly well when you have large individual binary files. It tries to calculate diffs on them, and that can be quite expensive for both CPU on the server side and on the client side. And so our customers have been asking a way to be able to set this, and we are now going to add this as an option for folks to configure. To note, for folks who might not be aware, you can also utilize LFS as a way to keep large files out of the Git repository, but still check them into your overall repo without having those kind of negative impacts I mentioned earlier. Moving over to the the application performance team, we are working to do two things. One is we want to go through and improve our real-time support in the epics area of our product to allow you to have real-time updating of description edits. And along with that work that we're doing there, we also want to go through and improve the documentation for our community on how to contribute to real-time features. This way, we'll go in and add a feature, but along the way, we'll be going through making sure that other people who contribute to GitLab features themselves will have better documentation on how to do this and contribute going forward. Now over to our Geo team. We are continuing our work to support and resolve SSH pushes to secondaries. Right now, if your push takes over 60 seconds, perhaps it's a large push, for example, it times out. This can break some workflows and some pushes. And so we're working to resolve this to change that, and we're pretty confident it will ship here in 15.11. Moving over to the maintenance side of our themes, we have a lot of work going on here as well. The first one is that we are actually removing the Gitly Ruby sidecar. This is a bit technical, but Gitly itself is primarily a Golang process, and we had a Ruby language kind of sidecar co-process, if you will, which did some work. This meant the team had to use both languages and introduce some inefficiencies, and we're finally able in this release to remove the Ruby side of the house entirely and have the Gitly process just rely on Go. So looking forward to the efficiency and velocity and performance benefits this will entail. And the distribution team, carrying on a theme from documentation improvements, is continuing their work as well here to overall improve the docs for how to contribute to all of our packaging assets and work. So our container images, our Linux packages. This way, all contributors to GitLab can better contribute and be less dependent upon the distribution team themselves for doing the work for them. And so we want to make sure this is more self-service and a more enjoyable and successful experience for our contributors. Over on the application performance side of the house, we are going to be wrapping up our work on supporting Ruby version 3.05. The GitLab.com service is already running Ruby 3.0 today, which is fantastic. And the 15.11 release, it will be shipping to all of our self-managed customers, and we'll be wrapping up a couple small things here in this release as well. So looking forward to getting this released to all of our customers. And then moving to our database group to wrap up most of our highlights here, we are continuing our work to move away from tables that have I think a big int, or moving towards a big int. And so the challenge right now is that in case you have some large or growing tables, like say CI build artifacts, you could potentially run out of primary key address space. And by moving to a larger index, larger table size, we can go ahead and resolve that risk. So that's one key work that we're working on. And then the last one is we are working to improve how we can detect any kind of schema differences between what we expect on instances and what is actually there. This is more of a sanity check for us in the database group to make sure that all of our self-managed instances have the consistent and correct schema that we would expect to have from them. And the last bit is we want to go ahead and finish up our support of two databases, a CI database and a main database for self-managed. We're running this today on GitLab.com, and we want to make sure that we have a consistent environment between GitLab.com and our self-managed customers. And this will also give self-managed customers, if they need it, a way to continue to grow to very, very large scales. And with that, I'll wrap up our Enablement section and hand it over to Arit to take us through Dev.
Thanks, Josh. Some really exciting stuff, especially excited about the real-time editing. I will be taking over for the Dev section. I will say that the section has a lot going on, much more than I plan to talk about. So please check out the individual planning issues. Everything here is also on the thread above if you would like to check out more information. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the product planning team. They're working on some exciting things. One of them is allowing reordering of tasks and OKRs and the child issues within them in the work items. So it'll look a little bit like this. They're also adding some new capabilities, such as the ability to subscribe to a work item notification, which you can see here, as well as the ability to promote a key result to an objective, which I'm very excited about as we're dogfooding OKRs at GitLab. This also sets the stage to allow users to convert work items to different types in the future. So after OKRs, another issue, UX improvement that they're working on is ability to hide the add option. That's the one here. When a user doesn't have permission to create tasks. Today, it's displayed and there's a strange error that's shown if someone without permission does that. So we're just going to remove that ability from existing in UI. Going over to the knowledge group, this is a very new group. They're going to be working on the content editor category. Content editor, if you do not know, is used for Markdown across different areas in GitLab. They're going to start working on iterating on this epic to focus on making the content editor more broadly available across different GitLab object types. which is super exciting. Next is the foundations group. They're working on a new navigation that you can see here. So this isn't available yet for people outside of GitLab, but what's really exciting is that during 1511, we're going to allow all GitLab team members the option to turn on the new navigation. And this will take us into initial closed beta, which we're going to collect feedback on, and then later on allow this to be open for the public. Moving on to our integrations and import team. They're going to be working on some really interesting things. One of them is showing a comprehensive summary on finished GitHub projects. So today, when you finish, it shows the numbers of entities imported, but it doesn't inform which entities were not successfully imported. So this new summary is going to have more contextual information and let the user decide if they want to re-import or if they're happy with the results. We're going to extend the summary to show specific pull requests and other direct links related to GitHub that were not successfully imported, as well as errors related to the failures so that users have more information to debug and troubleshoot if something went wrong. We're also going to be adding an ability to sync existing branch and commit data when a namespace is added to GitLab for the Jira app. So in previous releases, we added a worker that sends merge request data, but it only contains merge request information. It doesn't have any details about branches or commits. So in this release, we're going to be working on syncing branches with Jira so that we can also extract data from Jira that has additional data for the pull request entity and the branch entity. Moving on to code review. We're going to be removing some limitations on merge request dependency to support more complicated dependency tree structures. Currently, it's not possible to create a dependency structure if like A is dependent on B and B is C. Today, we restrict the ability to create dependencies for merge requests that already have a dependency. And we're going to be removing those limitations so that things like that will be possible. Wrapping up the world-class DevOps experience work is our source code group, who is going to be working on two things. One is improving the forking experience for better contribution experience on open source projects to enable larger organizations to keep write access on projects to a minimum. This is done by both fetching the new upstream content when a fork is behind. So in this iteration, we're going to intend to enable users to create a merge request in the upstream project if the fork is ahead. In addition to allowing users to merge from a fork repository, we're going to introduce a feature that lets you contribute back to the upstream project by creating a merge request in the UI when your branch in the fork is ahead of the upstream project, and it will look like something like this. Moving on to our advanced security and compliance, our authentication and authorization team is going to be adding customizable roles. So we're going to add the ability to view vulnerability report as a customizable permission that you can add to an existing GitLab role to give the user the ability to view vulnerability reports. This is something we heard from customers, and I'm excited to see this being added. And our last theme that the dev team will be contributing to is observability, analytics, and feedback. This is mainly the optimized team. They're going to be removing the feature flag to open our open beta for the value stream dashboard, which looks like this today. So today it was behind a closed beta. Now we're going to open it up. So please let us know if you're interested, and you'll be able to see the consolidated view for the dashboard. And in addition to that, we'll be adding additional metrics to the value stream dashboard. We're going to be adding vulnerabilities metrics and merge request throughput metrics to the comparison panel, which is what I showed before. This is going to allow decision makers to understand how different metrics are performing relative to each other, or to identify trends and patterns in the data. That concludes all the work for the dev section. I'll pass it on to Hillary for sec.
Awesome, thanks, Arit. Y'all have a lot of really good stuff coming up. Particularly excited to see the updates to the value stream dashboards. That's really cool. Yeah, so as Arit mentioned, I'm going to be talking through the updates in the section for this milestone. So first up, we're primarily focused on advanced security and compliance as per usual. And we have a number of projects in flight this milestone that are intended to improve user workflows across our governance capabilities in particular. So first up, the Threat Insights team is working on delivering a project that will add pre-selected vulnerability dismissal types or reasons to the vulnerability dismissal workflow. So today, we don't consistently give users a really quick way to add a reason for dismissing a vulnerability. They have to just write a comment for each vulnerability that they want to dismiss. And so this milestone, the team is adding 5 specific dismissal reasons to the workflow. And those will be acceptable risk, false positive, mitigating control, not applicable, and used in tests. So those are really common reasons why folks might want to dismiss a vulnerability. And so the quick picks will make it will make the process less time consuming and more consistent for teams that want to be able to look back and easily see the main reasons why vulnerabilities have been dismissed. Next up, the compliance team is working on group level compliant improvements to the group level compliance framework reporting and management capabilities. So last milestone, they released an MVC of the compliance framework report. That report shows which compliance frameworks are assigned to which projects in a given group. So this milestone, they'll be adding the ability to search and filter that report, as well as add and remove frameworks from projects within the group. So customers will have the ability to change their projects in bulk at the group level once this work is in, which is really cool. Additionally, the compliance team will be adding a GraphQL API for instance level streaming audit events. So today users can only see an instance level report on audit events in the UI. There's no way to stream them to an external location. And that's a common need for a lot of users. So this API will add the ability for users to stream these events externally. And finally, the compliance team is working on UI filtering for streaming audit events. So currently users have to use the API if they want to add filters to audit event streams. So if you're only trying to send certain types of events to an external system, that's a little bit difficult to do today because you have to just use the API for that. And so the team is adding the ability to do this filtering in the UI so that it's easier to pare down those events that are sent in the stream. The security policies team is working on role-based approval for scan result policies and plans to ship this feature in this milestone. So in addition to being able to specify approvers either individually, like by name, or by specifying a group, like you can do today, users will also be able to define approvers in a policy based on their role. So identifying approvers based on role is a more scalable approach to setting approvers for a lot of organizations. And so this capability maps more closely to how many folks want to be able to divide responsibilities. And finally, the composition analysis team is going to continue work this milestone on continuous vulnerability scanning. So this feature is not expected to be delivered this milestone, but as a reminder, when it is available, it will basically automatically update the vulnerability information in users' projects whenever an advisory is added to the GitLab advisory database without needing to run a scheduled scan. So today, if you want updates to your vulnerability mappings, basically, you have to run a scan in CI in order to see that. And so having this sort of automatically running in the background will be a huge improvement to the overall always-on security experience within GitLab. It will give users a better and more continuous view of the vulnerabilities that affect their projects. And with that, I will hand it off to Mike to take us through what's coming up in ops.
Awesome. Thank you, Hillary, and great to meet everybody on the phone. Mike Floten, going to be updating us on the ops section today. Hold on, I apologize. Having a sharing issue here. I am so sorry. I don't know what's going on with sharing. David, could we switch the order and will I figure this out? Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely. Taylor, do you want to go over data science?
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Taylor McCaslin. I'm our group manager for data science. Today, I'll cover both anti-abuse and our model ops stage. To start, let's begin with our anti-abuse stage. This is focused on our product theme of observability, analytics, and feedback. I've talked previously about our efforts to improve and protect our signup to reduce spam. We won't talk much about this, but there continue to be efforts to reduce the amount of spam that comes onto our platform. So there may be changes to our signup flow. Moving on to our abuse management, we are in the process of releasing our abuse reports project. This basically allows management of different abuse reports. We're in the process of building actions into this so that you can actually take action against these specific reports. So this is being developed right now to give more control over various abuse vectors across GitLab. Now moving to our model ops stage, our focus here is world-class DevOps experience. You may recall we've released code suggestions available in a code's beta. This is basically generating code as you type within GitLab's VS Code plugin. We're in the process now of moving towards an open beta. And so there's a variety of things that we're doing, including improving the model to make it run or to have better results and also support more languages. We're also in the process of simplifying the way that you enable this. Right now, it's part of our VS Code workflow plugin, which has a lot of different features associated with it. We're pulling it out into a separate plugin to make this very easy to manage. This also sets us up to load this into our new Web IDE experience. With that standalone plugin, it'll be easier to manage this in the Web IDE. We actually do have this running in the Web IDE today, generating code. So this will be shipping with our open beta in the next month or two. Additionally, we're in the process of working on how GitLab admins will control this. Right now, we're looking at group settings to enable the extension. It'll look something like this, a button on your settings page to enable code suggestions that'll give you the terms and conditions to read through and to allow access to code suggestions for team members on that project. So that's a quick overview of what we're working on with the model ops stage. And now I'll hand it over to Mike for his stuff.
Great, thanks, Taylor. And I have a new machine, so I had to reauthorize Zoom, so I apologize for the technical difficulties, but here we go. So I will dig right in. Some really exciting stuff to talk about in the ops section. So we've got these aligned by investment themes. So I'm going to start with building towards a world-class DevSecOps experience. So from a pipeline authoring standpoint, we're continuing to do some really exciting work on that front, primarily around building our CI catalog page. So laying the groundwork there to help you all more easily find and leverage components. And super exciting as we kind of continue to work through some of the front end and design work that is going to go towards making that capability a reality. So really excited about that. And continue to kind of design out the best way to make things easily searchable and findable. We're also doing a little work around enabling in pipeline authoring, supporting options, to being able to give organizations more granularity around the input filtering that they're using. Moving on to pipeline execution. We're focusing on a few different things, including a lot of work around some bugs and maintenance, but we're taking a look at merge trains. And specifically, we're undertaking a spike to ascertain level of effort to do some work around fast forwarding support with merge trains. This is a really commonly requested capability. So we're super excited about delivering that. And we're looking at, in this milestone, unblocking some work that allow us to progress here. And there's also some work we're doing around cleaning up help text. There's a lot more information on the release kickoff video. I encourage you to watch. So exciting stuff there. Within the runner group, a lot of work that we're doing around reducing backlog of existing bugs, working on some optimizations across the platform. From a new feature standpoint, we're working on an alpha release for auto scaling virtual machines using the AWS EC2 plugin. So it's really kind of the first chance that we're giving the community to test out that capability. So we're really excited about working with the hyperscalers, and this will lay the groundwork not just for AWS, but down the road. You'll see us supporting other hyperscalers like GCP and Azure. So super excited about that. Moving on to the delivery group and configuration, we're continuing to progress on our initial iteration of our Kubernetes dashboard in the environment page, which Kubernetes can be complex, and so giving people more insight into exactly what's going on is something we're really excited about there. So we continue to do that work, and so there's some really good information in the dashboard epic that I encourage you to take a look at here, as well as really well-documented blueprint that we continue to work towards. So really excited about the work we're doing around that world-class DevSecOps experience theme. Continuing things out, as Taylor alluded on the data science front, we continue to do work to support additional capabilities. So one thing we're particularly excited about is extending our GPU support. So we're better supporting GPU-enabled SaaS runners. So specifically, we're closing out some open items here from a previous release, and really excited to drive this work to market. And then finally, rounding things out, an investment theme that's near and dear to my heart on the advanced security and compliance front. The pipeline security group is doing work to encourage users to switch to OIDC as opposed to using known cloud providers storing secrets in their CI/CD variables, which is not a great security practice. So we're going to be doing some research around the best ways to prompt adoption of OIDC instead, and excited about that capability. And finally, going back to the to the runner group, we are working on reducing our footprint and attack surface. So where we're using Red Hat UBI images before, we are going to be adopting UBI 8 minimal in an effort to, again, reduce the attack surface, reduce the footprint, and run only what we need to get the job done. So there's a lot more detail in the individual planning issues and videos, but those are the quick highlights. And with that, I think I'll turn back to David.
Thanks, Mike. And thank you to all the presenters. And you can see we iterate here. Clearly, Mike did have a little bit of Zoom problem. I think on my first call, my camera didn't work. So I guess it's a rite of passage. Mike, welcome to your first kickoff call. Thank you all to the presenters. So many great things were released. I can only highlight a couple of them in the last minute here. Under world-class DevSecOps experience, looking to switch our backend for code search to a more reliable and complete solution, wanting to improve the experience with SSH timeouts with geosecondaries. We're beginning the work on the CI component catalog. That's exciting to me. That's going to be a great usability improvement. Mike just mentioned a spike on building fast forward merge support for merge trains. We're doing the initial Kubernetes dashboard environment page, which will also be great. The content editor, if you've not used that in the wiki, having that everywhere is going to be amazing. So can't wait to see that happen with the plan team. Reordering of work items and the ability to hide the tasks, add tasks option if you don't have permission to use tasks. Both great improvements. And then Arit showed the new navigation. I love the new navigation. I can't wait to see that be GA. For advanced security and compliance, things like new vulnerability type dismissals, role-based approvals for scan results, continuous vulnerability scanning, the ability to add more customizable permissions to our customizable roles functionality. I will say Arit teased me with that this morning, told me something great was going to be on the kickoff call. I'm excited about that. And then finally, the switching over to UBI 8 minimal images to help reduce our attack surface. Next, with observability, analytics, and feedback, the value streams dashboards moving to open beta and adding more metrics. I love it. Like, Haim team, you're doing a great job. And then finally, with data science, GitLab for data science, adding the ability to support Google Compute for AI/ML workloads. All great. Please check out the release kickoff page as well as the full list of items. Feel free to like and comment on them and engage with the team. Again, I was only able to touch on a very small list of them here on the kickoff. Before we sign off, there is an important milestone happening today. So this will be Arit's last kickoff call as she's leaving GitLab in early April. Arit, I wanted to take a moment to thank you for your leadership and your dedication to GitLab. You have been, I remember when I first met you, you were one of the PMs in the release stage, and it's been amazing to see your growth over the last 4 years and have you as a direct report for over 2. The product team and the broader R&D org will forever be changed by your contributions, and we will miss having you in the team, but I do look forward to seeing what you accomplish next. I will say this picture might be a little bit of a fake out. I'm not that tall. I think it's the angle of the picture. Though I think Taylor's told people I'm 8 feet tall in the past. But Arit, it's great seeing you in person in September where this picture was taken again at Sales Kickoff, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
And with that, I want to thank everyone for watching and joining this really